I do think though it's right and proper. But if you do come from Afghanistan, you come here through the correct scheme. You don't come here via France. If you should apply for asylum in the first safe country you get to.
So how do you get from Afghanistan to London without infringing those rules?
Well, as I say, I think you should apply for asylum in the first safe country you get to. But there has been a scheme, for example, for Afghan interpreters. What one can argue whether that should be higher or lower, and that's a debate that is fair enough to have. But I don't think it is appropriate for anyone, whatever their origin country is, to travel through multiple safe countries where they refuse to claim asylum and then make a dangerous crossing to enter our country legally.
But I'm just wondering, what is the route for an Afghan woman who may be fleeing persecution from the Taliban now that kind of virtually all rights have been denied women? How do you get from Kabul to London if that's where you want to claim asylum?
Well, I think the key thing is, if you're in an unsafe country, getting to a safe country, that's the key thing. So I don't think there should necessarily be, if you're in a situation where you're unsafe.
So you don't want them to come here? You're basically saying you don't want them to come here?
Well, I think if you're fleeing persecution, you should claim for asylum in the first safe country you get to. We have a scheme. We've had a scheme for people to come over from Afghanistan, and we have taken a large number of people from Afghanistan as refugees, like we have done from Ukraine, and that's right and proper. But we have to have a managed process. We can't have a situation where you travel through multiple safe European countries and then legally enter our country.
Tom, we're an island. That would mean logically that no one would ever claim asylum here, because that would never be the first safe country you would arrive in.
But look, we have schemes, and we've taken large numbers of refugees from Hong Kong, from Ukraine, Afghanistan. We've got a proud record when it comes to welcoming people here. But what I am saying, I want us to show generosity, but there needs to be a process. You've got to manage who's coming in. And actually, there is a limit. We've got a situation where there are tens of millions of people across the world who could conceivably get refugee status. There's a limit to how many we can take. As you say, we're an island. Therefore, there needs to be a cap. And if there's a cap, we need to think about how we prioritise. I have to say, three times I've been to the Rohingya refugee camp in Bangladesh, for example, since I've been elected. I was there in January, I was there in March. And the people I spoke to there were mainly women and children. And actually, they're not in a position where they can shop between different safe European countries. They are fleeing persecution. It's not likely we're going to be able to get back to Myanmar anytime soon safely. And I happen to think, if we have a managed system in terms of the refugees we take, I happen to think that they would come up higher the priority list than principally young single men coming from France.
Coming from the Taliban?
Coming from France. If you're coming from France, it's a safe European country. And to get to France, presumably you travel through many other safe European countries. Why aren't they claiming asylum in those countries?
So basically, you'd prefer everyone that wanted to come to seek asylum in the UK as a refugee to stay in France?
I think you should apply for asylum in the first safe country you get to. And actually, if they've got to France, they've probably been through many others.
The Newsagents. This is a Global Player original podcast.